What is your favorite part of the pilot and why?
Um, they're meet cute every single time. Like I just fangirl for like that whole 90 seconds. Oh my God, every part is so iconic.
I gotta say that my favorite part, just because of how I initially reacted, when first watching Lucifer, is like when Chloe appears. Like, I don't know why, but her entrance is like my favorite part of the pilot. Other than obviously when she gets shot and there's that whole moment between her and Lucifer. Hi, Lexi Mac and Irene. If you guys want to speak and join, we're just waiting for more people. We're just, talking a little bit. If you guys want to join in the conversation, you can just request it and I will add you and you guys can join the conversation.
I like how your favorite part is Chloe getting shot. That just sounds so funny.
Okay, but you're putting it so out of context.
I
I don't
know.
like it because she got shot. That's like, okay, that breaks my heart. I like it because it leads to the moment between her and Lucifer where he falls in love with her there, and it's an I can't talk, iconic moment. For anybody new that's joining, I'm gonna keep repeating this. I'm so sorry, but um, yeah, we're just hanging out. Feel free to request to speak, and I'll add you.
Oh, I was gonna say is like, oh my God, this is seriously one of the best pilots of any show ever. Like the whole thing's iconic. Oh my God.
Oh no, definitely. Like you always with pilot episodes, you can always expect it to be kind of cheesy because they're kind of just learning their roles and it's the first episode. But with Lucifer, I didn't find that. I didn't think that any part of it was overdone or, just poorly done even. Like they executed it very well and I was very happy with it even the first time watching through.
hmm Okay, so what I was going to tell you before we start the whole thing, um, so I've been so excited for the whole rewatch to begin that I haven't watched Lucifer at all since it was announced that we're going to do this. And I've been just like so excited that when I first heard his voice, I like literally almost screamed. Like I'm so excited to watch it with you.
I win because I haven't watched Lucifer since season 6 aired.
I know. Oh my God. Wait, really? Not even like the beginning? I've
No,
watched
I
the
mean,
pilot a couple times.
I've watched videos on Twitter, like that people have shared and posted, but like
hmm
as far as rewatching like the actual show, I haven't watched it at all. So like sitting down and rewatching the first episode, like the pilot again, is like a whole new experience because it's kind of like rewatching it for the first time. I haven't watched it in months. So sitting down and like seeing all that again, it was like experiencing it for the first time and it was just like it was so nice and I missed them all so much.
Oh yeah, I definitely got the experiencing for the first time. Like I wanted to give myself just like enough time to forget some things to like really like have it fresh.
Hi, Destiny. You are also welcome to join the conversation if you like. You can just request it. We're just discussing the pilot and our favorite parts of it or anything you want to talk about. Again, that goes for anybody here. If any of you guys want to talk, by all means, just request it and I'll add you.
And I think the pilot is probably the one episode I've watched the most of any, actually. Because I always go back to the beginning, like I want to start over and over and over. Yeah.
So you're gonna hate me, but the episode that I watched the most isn't the pilot, but the episode where Lucifer goes back to hell, where Chloe confesses her love for him, just because the angst is so good. It's so good.
I was trying to in my brain to remember. I'm like, okay, what is she describing to me? I'm trying to picture it in my brain. Because when you said go back to hell, I'm like, wait, in season two? In season
I guess it would be. It must be season
it's
4, right? Or is it
410.
season 3?
410.
I haven't literally watched this at all since season 6. So my brain, it's like I said, I'm basically rewatching it all for the first time. Like the
Which I
pilot,
love.
like I have it memorized. Like I know everything that's gonna happen, but just being able to sit down and watch after months of not seeing anything is just
hmm
like you said, it's a whole new experience. And
hmm
again, like I'm gonna keep repeating myself. I'm so sorry for people who have been here the whole time, but like any of you, if you guys want to join in chat, you can request it, I think, at the bottom. it should let you, and then I can add you, and you guys are welcome to join and discuss the pilot with us. Please don't leave us hanging. We don't want to talk about amongst ourselves. We were hoping that some of you guys would join in and chat with us, so you're welcome to.
Uh, okay, you said you have the whole episode memorized, so what would be your favorite line from the whole episode, the whole pilot?
It kind of changes depending on when I watch it, but I think this time, just because it made me laugh so much, is definitely Linda's whole I'm freakishly flexible. I do hot yoga. I know I did that in the wrong order, but um she just like it's such an awkward moment between them. Like it's intentionally awkward, but it's just so funny because Linda is very like she's very prim and proper, and eventually like you get to the point where Lucifer doesn't affect her anymore because she's just used to him. But in the beginning, she's like so overly affected by him that it's so funny to me.
Mm-hmm. Favorite is. Oh, I always really like when he says that he's not a Jedi because of the way that he says it. I'm not a Jedi. I find it so funny.
I really like when Chloe is like pretending to be under his whole like desire shtick, and she's like, just get in the damn car. And he looks so offended and so upset. He's like, did that really not work?
I was trying to remember, and oh my God, I'm probably such a fake fan, but okay, is it ever explained why his mojo doesn't work on her?
On Chloe, you mean?
Yeah.
I muted myself. Yeah, it's because she like because of the whole miracle thing. Like God basically made her. I mean, watch me get this wrong. Watch me get this wrong. But I swear to God, it's because of the whole because she's the miracle. Like that she was made to not. Oops. Hang on, somebody's requesting to join. It's because she was made so that he doesn't affect her. Like that's
That's
why
what
they
I
had the whole
thought.
that's why
It
they
was
had the
so
whole
that
miracle like problem because she was like, "Oh, I was made for you," but it's not that. It's not like that. It's like the miracle is the fact that he doesn't affect her.
that's what I thought, so that she would see him for who he truly is and he can't like manipulate her. Okay.
Yeah. See, now you're
Okay.
really testing me because I legit have not watched this since season 6 dropped, so my brain is like has been elsewhere for months now. Tabitha, if you want to speak, you're more than welcome to.
I don't care. You're a bigger fan than me, so you should know the answer better than I do.
I'm doing my best. I'm just like waiting to mess up with this group full of people here and be like, and then somebody's gonna join and be like, no, you're wrong. Like, shoot.
Yeah,
Judge you.
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing that I saw it as Chloe is immune to Lucifer's mojo because you know she basically I mean we all know she's made for him, but it was more than that. Basically what you were saying about her being able to see him for who he truly is, and that would be the reason why it doesn't affect her.
Yeah, I agree. I realized that later.
I can definitely see why though that would upset her. Like I know we're kind of like venturing later into the season and future seasons by talking about this, but it's fine. Like we're just here to have fun. But I can see why that would upset her because initially if you're sat down and you're like, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in Satan, I don't believe in any of that. And then it turns out the devil's real. And then not only that, but it turns out that like, initially you're told like, "Oh, you were made for him." Like I would be a little upset too, just a little bit. But it's really not like the way she initially takes it. It's just she was made to be immune to him so that she could see past kind of that facade that he puts on for everybody else, where he's like, oh, I'm evil and I'm bad and I'm all this stuff and everybody just gravitated towards him because, they wanted to sleep with him or they wanted something from him. And she can see past all that. She doesn't want to be around him because of what he can do for her or anything like that. She wants to be around him because of who he is as a person when you get beyond all those walls that he's put up.
Exactly. She is basically literally following in falling in love with him for what you said, for who he is. And if she was able, if she ever came under his mojo, it, it wouldn't be real and it wouldn't be true. Just it wouldn't be the true love that they share. So yeah.
I really like that because and it's true. Like if she wouldn't have been able to fall in love with him like properly had it been different where she had been affected by his mojo because the entire time he would just think that, you know, he was putting her under some kind of spell. And I do want to ask too, like if there's anything about the pilot that you guys could change, like you could go back and have it rewritten. What about the pilot would you want to change or alter in any way, good or bad?
Oh, the one thing I will say, I can't believe that they ever thought of having anyone but Kevin play Dan. Like, no, Kevin is meant to be Dan. I couldn't imagine it as any other actor ever.
Oh, for sure. No, like when I first saw the other actor, I didn't care for it. Like it's nothing against him. He's a great actor. I just like Dan, like Kevin fits Dan's role so much better for me. And I really do think that he and Trixie look alike. But then also like I was gonna say the one thing I would change is the goat eyes that Lucifer does with the little girl, the goat eyes, and then her reaction to them. Because one, the goat eyes look really weird. And then also, this little girl just saw someone's eyes like change and she screamed once and that was it. That's all we get out of her. Whereas, like, you see a grown man in the same episode have a complete mental breakdown because he sees Lucifer's face. You're telling me a little girl wouldn't have a worse reaction?
I agree. Every time I watch that part, I'm like, that's so mean to do to that little girl. Like, that's too much.
Yeah, I would actually argue that the goat eyes were actually scarier than his actual devil face. Which I gotta say, I want to show a little bit of appreciation for how they did it, because you know how like the camera cuts away at the end, when he's intimidating Jimmy Barnes. I think it's much scarier. I like that, you know, it was a lower budget, since it was a pilot, so they just kind of found a way around it. I think it worked really well. Just wanted to give props to that.
Tabitha, you can go ahead if there's something you want to say.
I'm good right now.
Yeah, the camera cutaway is really really cool. Like I'm kind of on the fence because everyone seems to like his earlier devil face, whereas I kind of like, don't hate me for this, but I really prefer the later one. I don't know why, but like in the beginning where it kind of has like the flash with his face, it just looks really fake to me. Whereas like the later one, it kind of looks more, just to me, like it looks more realistic. And I just like, I'm not so much aiming for it to be scary. Like, I don't know as Lucifer should be scary so much, but he's meant to look like he was burned. And like that looks more realistic to how somebody who was burned for a very long time would look.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I like that they you know, obviously when it got picked up by Netflix, I'm kind of glad that they got the budget that they needed to make it look good. Because I I know it was like super hit or miss, especially earlier in the seasons. Just the whole double face thing. Sometimes it would look like, you know, how everyone calls it, the lasagna face, the that face, and obviously the goat eyes, as one of you guys mentioned, was did not look good. Thank God that was only in the pilot episode. So yeah, no, I'm glad they kind of took those things and improved it as the seasons went on.
The CGI definitely improved throughout the seasons. Like his wings have always looked pretty realistic, but season 6 they were top tier. But like in regards to like his devil face and the eyes and stuff, like they just made leaps and bounds with that. Like the goat eyes look so fake. His devil face was iffy for me. I know a lot of people seem to prefer the season, like the earlier season devil face, like I said, but I like the CGI just made so much, like it got so much better throughout the seasons. Like his wings in the final season and like his eyes just gradually got more and more realistic. But I never understood why they didn't just like use contacts for him. But I guess also like I've never watched The Witcher, but seeing the contacts that the guy uses in The Witcher, they look very, I don't know, emotionless, I guess, and very like just very strange. So maybe that's why maybe it would just look off if they used contacts.
Yeah, I watched The Witcher and I can definitely say that it takes away from their eye like their performance as far as like their eyes go because it looks so fake and so they can be staring off into the distance and then like it just looks I don't know awkward.
Yeah, and I agree too. I really like how Lucifer's devil face changed as they started being able to use the CGI. Because I really didn't like how it looked in the beginning. It just it didn't seem to fit for me. Um, but I did like all the flashes, the devil flashes, because it was subtle. But yeah, when we get to see the full on devil face, I do like the CGI a lot better.
I'm still over here trying to think if there's anything that I would change about the pilot. Because I think it's one of like the most perfect pilots. If I had it on the list of like favorite pilots, it would be there.
I agree too. I'll admit I did not come on board with Lucifer until season 4. Um, I had heard about it being on Fox, and I was just basically like, a show about Lucifer, maybe not. But one of my good friends basically, she more or less twisted my arm and said, "You've got to sit down and watch just one episode of the show. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But let's watch one episode." And so I was like, okay, fine. I'll sit down and watch it. And she played the pilot episode for me, and that was it. I was hooked instantly. I loved the banter between Chloe and Lucifer. I just it was just a great chemistry, and it was in that moment that for me Decker Star happened, um, and I've really never seen that before in a show. I mean, I like watching different shows, but never in the pilot has that connection just hit that quickly. And it did for me for Lucifer. And after we watched the first episode, she looked at me. She's like, "Okay, what are we doing now?" I said, "Play the second episode."
Yeah, I had to be dragged into by like several people. I'm like, I don't know, a show about the devil, like I don't know. It sounds so corny and cheesy, but then I got like dragged in and it's like, okay, so now we're gonna watch this on repeat, like eating a bag of chips, just like and I think that's gonna be the hardest thing about this rewatch truly is just like, okay, one a week. Like, how am I supposed to do that? I don't I can't do that.
For me, it was the same way. Like, I didn't like because I didn't have cable, so I didn't notice Lucifer until Netflix picked it up, which is really unfortunate because I think I would have loved and hated coming in sooner because obviously the whole meltdown after season 3 where it got canceled and then like the whole battle of trying to save it, which I would have loved that part. But when it got picked up by Netflix, it hadn't been on Netflix long because I remember getting on there and scrolling through once and then Lucifer popped up, and I was like, "Oh, show about the devil. Okay, that's cool." So I was reading like the little synopsis that it shows. I'm like, "That sounds kind of cheesy. Like the devil goes to Los Angeles. Okay." But I was like, "I'll give it a shot. Like it can't be that bad." So I sat down and I watched it, and like I was like, "Oh, this devil guy is kind of hot." And then Chloe Decker popped up, and I was like, "Okay, well, I'm watching this show now." And then like just immediately after that, like the plot sucked me in, and yeah, Decker Star, like right from the pilot, like you do not see that with any other show. Just them having so much chemistry, even though like they weren't really together even as like friends in that first episode or even like a good portion of the first season. Like they had so much chemistry, thankfully due to Tom and Lauren. Like they hit it off, and I loved that between them.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna add is every time I'm reminded that there was no chemistry read for those two, it's like how like they're perfect together. Like it's just perfect from like word go. It's so good.
Yeah, I gotta say they're the ones who won me over too. I also started watching when season 4 when Netflix picked it up for season 4. Gave it a shot, tried it. The pilot already hooked me immediately. I was like, all right, it's time to binge. I really, yeah, like everyone has pointed out already, it's their chemistry. It's the entire cast. It was really fun. Um, it was, it's interesting now looking back and rewatching it because we see where the journey has led. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with everyone's points on how the show itself won you over.
Well, it might just be me, but I feel like I mean, it took a very long time for Chloe and Lucifer to get together, but from like the very beginning, it's like, well, obviously they're going to get together at some point. And so that's kind of like the hook to keep at least me going.
See, that's a big frustration point that I had was that it took so long. Like, and like with having only 6 seasons, like if we had had more seasons, I would have been more okay with it. But it took so long for them to finally get over that will they, won't they slump, and it was just really frustrating. Even now, like going through and rewatching, it's not so bad, but I just like eventually it gets to the point where you're like, okay, like they either need to like get together or not. Like I don't want to keep doing this will they, won't they back and forth for another season, especially season 3 because it just drags on and there's so much drama with Pierce. Ugh. We don't talk about Pierce here. He's not welcome.
We
Um,
don't talk about Pierce.
we'll rewrite the song for Pierce.
What?
We'll rewrite the song for Pierce.
Oh my God, yes, 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 yes. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. I was just thinking, like, so the reason that you wanted to start today was because tomorrow is the 6-year anniversary of the pilot. I cannot, but like 6 years, that's crazy. Has it already been 6 years? Like, I know most of us probably joined towards the end, like more recently, but still, like, that's so crazy. It's been 6 years since it premiered.
Yeah, like I can't even like fathom that. Like they worked on the show for like 6 years too, so it's like so much of their lives have been put into this, and now like all the cast and the crew are just moving on to other projects. It has to feel weird going into work and not having it be Lucifer. Like, you have different castmates and different crew members, and you're going in used to playing this one character, and then to have it all change like pretty much overnight because the show ends has got to be such a weird shift.
Yeah, I was just thinking in the lyrics of Taylor Swift, I stayed here, like, everybody's moving on, but I stayed here and I'm still gonna be here just watching Lucifer, even if the cast moves on to other stuff. And yeah.
That's gonna be me 10 years from now, still watching Lucifer, still having it trend on Twitter, and everybody else is gonna be like on like WandaVision season 28 or something like that, because apparently that's like gonna be like the next Lucifer, I think. Like it's becoming pretty popular, and I'm debating on if I want to watch it or not.
Well, it's only one season, so you should be good.
Are they not coming out with more? We're not even supposed to be talking about WandaVision, but now you've got me curious. Are they not coming out with another season?
No, it's just a one-off, and then they did like a spin-off from it. So,
That's so strange. Okay, anyway, back to Lucifer. Um,
but you will talk about Marvel. Oh my God. Okay, I guess we're gonna talk about Marvel.
oh
I'm
geez,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. See, I just started watching. We're going off on the wrong path here. We're supposed to be talking about Lucifer, but you got me
I
on Marvel
know.
now. Like, I haven't watched Marvel since I was probably like the first Iron Man movie came out. I was like a kid, and like, or maybe like the last like proper Marvel movie I watched. Like Guardians of the Galaxy is a Marvel movie, right? I think.
Yes,
I think
yes.
that's the last one I've watched, and now I'm watching Black Widow. Still, I've been watching it for probably 8 hours, and I'm 45 minutes in because I
Yeah,
have a
that's
kid.
not my
Because
favorite.
but no, Black Widow, like I am loving it so far, mostly because another blondie has caught my attention, but I'm in love with Yelena. She's so wonderful.
Yes, I know. And now we'll bring it
Yes,
back to Chloe and how wonderful
yes,
Chloe is.
Chloe and her wonderfulness. But no, like that's like the main thing that caught my attention too in the pilot, just because my gay little heart. Like Chloe Decker, like she steps out of the car and I'm like, okay, we're just gonna spend the next 8 years of my life hyper fixated on this show.
Yeah.
So everybody here, because I know like people have stopped talking, in regards to the pilot, we kind of got introduced to almost everybody in the pilot, I think. I don't think there's anybody other than characters that come up later that we didn't get
Um,
introduced to. Um, if there's a character that you wish that you could bring in sooner, like whether it's in the pilot or just in season one, or a character that you wish that they had put off until later, who would that be? Like for me, I think it would be Amenadiel, just because in the earlier seasons I don't really care for his character. Just because like I don't know, he didn't contribute a lot to the plot, at least in the pilot for me.
He probably has the biggest character growth from wanting to. I mean, you're basically telling Lucifer to go to hell. To yeah, I like Amenadiel's journey throughout.
Oh yeah, Amenadiel's like character arc is really good. Like him and Dan both, like I did not care for them for like the first couple of seasons. I was like, I do not like these characters. Like they're okay, and I tolerated their screen time. But then like as it went on, um, I definitely grew more fonder of them. Like especially Dan. Like I didn't cry when he died. I'm sorry, but like he definitely like grew on me. I think it's just because he was very douchey in the beginning, and I was like, there's no reason to act like that. You don't gotta be like that, my guy.
It literally took me 5 seasons to like Dan. Literally 5 seasons.
I think I started liking him when he died. That sounds so terrible, but like
Exactly.
it took me up to that point to be like, okay, maybe you're not a horrible person.
And then he was so good in season 6 when he was just allowed to be just comedic and yeah.
He was just a clump of ectoplasm, and he was great.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think he started. I like the Dan. Actually, for me, it's like I think season two, specifically three, is when he started becoming like that bubblier, like dork character who's like always constantly messing up but trying to do the right thing. I think that's when that character became fun, and I think they hit their stride there because I think Kevin plays Dan very well. But like you said, he was super unlikable in season one and Menadil too. So of course, looking back when we start doing all these rewatches, I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna is gonna point out like, damn, I forgot how different they were when this whole thing started.
Well, if we want to talk how different they are, I find it so funny that maybe I'm wrong, but like I think both Lucifer and Chloe, their voices change throughout the series. Like Lucifer starts really high and Chloe starts different too, and by the end their voices don't even sound the same.
I think that's more the actors maturing, but like I know that Tom altered Lucifer's accent throughout. I know
Mm-hmm.
that he did that. But I don't know about Lauren. I think her voice just matured as she got older and changed. But no, they definitely changed. And like their faces changed a lot too. Like Tom was
Mm-hmm.
just a scrawny little green bean in the beginning, and then he bulked up a lot, and like his face got like more muscular. Like I'm sorry, I don't like him with eyeliner. I can't handle it. It's too much. He looks like a little emo boy, and I don't like it. So like later seasons when he's not wearing it and he's just got like more muscle to his face, I really like that. And then like Lauren, like I don't know, she pretty.
She pretty.
She's perfect. You can't change anything. She's great.
Yeah, I liked from the pilot, you were asking about lines.
Hmm.
And I know I'm gonna get this not accurate, just because it's just off the top of my head. But the way Tom says, um, uh, she's smart, you're the dimwit. Just the way he puts that accent in there. I loved it. And I just thought it made Lucifer sound even more sexy. Um,
Hmm.
and as the seasons went on, he lost that. He is like he switched it up, like you said. He got rid of it. Um, but part of me wishes he hadn't. Just because it gave Lucifer more of a sexier edge to me.
Yeah, I see that. Like, just the way that he would like enunciate words and stuff, that it kind of like lost the humor in his tone.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I know you guys were talking about, oh, what are the, talking about the differences, things you would change. It's so interesting, like rewatching that pilot because Tom is essentially just using his own voice. He's not putting on an accent. Like the cadence is different. like he sounds less bubblier as he does as Lucifer. So that it's that's pretty funny to me. I think it's I guess I like the newer accent. Maybe it's because I'm used to it, and I hear it and I'm like, yeah, that's Lucifer. Like that's he's like more whimsical in nature. So I think that the newer voice and the newer accent that he put like definitely matches. But I think that it was the right call.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like, I don't. It's not that I don't like his earlier accent. It's just I prefer how his accent changed over time. And like the later seasons is definitely like I think just because he finally found where he wanted Lucifer's voice to be, and he really got it to stick. Um, I think Maze's accent changed too. Like maybe not a ton. Like you can definitely hear Leslie's accent come through in season 6 in a few spots, but I think like Maze like initially her voice I don't even know how to explain it. Like it just seems like it changes like her accent or something, or even like maybe the way she speaks alters over time.
Yeah, that could be it too. And I know I definitely hear you when you say that her accent slips through. So I don't know if it's a thing of just maybe improvement or, but yeah, it's definitely something I've noticed.
I think a lot of it has to do with like when you're first starting out with a show. Like I said, you're still learning those characters. Like yes, they rehearse all these lines and stuff for months and months and months before they come out with the final product. But I think initially, like when you're sitting down and you're just learning these characters and you're learning how you want to present them, you obviously have so many takes, and then they're like, okay, this is it. That was a good shot. Now we're done. So I think like it probably takes a season or two for them to really find that sweet spot where they want their character's voice to sit and how they want them to respond to certain things and how they show their emotions. Like, um, I noticed with Tom, like I didn't see in the beginning very much Lucifer's like hand, like where he drums his fingers when he's nervous. I think that shows up in later seasons. So I think that he eventually found that spot with Lucifer where he's like, this is how I think he would act when he's nervous, and he does the finger drumming thing, and Michael does it too because obviously they're twins and they like do it differently. Michael's accent, by the way, I'm sorry, Thomas, but it's just not it for me.
Yeah, the American accent. To be fair, his American accent sounded better in Rush. Because he's playing the character, and so obviously he has more screen time. But yeah, the Michael one, it wasn't too bad. But I've seen a lot of people make gifs of the finger tapping thing that you mentioned. Um, and I remember, interestingly enough, like someone had pointed out how like Michael, it's like on the opposite hand, and so they were saying, oh, it's because of his shoulder wound or something like that. I thought it was interesting because it's something I hadn't like noticed before, like the finger tapping thing.
You guys are totally gonna hate me for this, but I'd never like I always like the way Michael like leans. I didn't connect that with an injury. Like everybody's like, "Oh, his injury on his shoulder." I'm like, "What are you talking about? What injury?" So maybe I'm just like completely forgetting it. But like, why does he lean like that? Like, what did I forgetting? What did I miss along the way? What happened to Michael?
Oh, he
It,
just self-actualized it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It was a self-actualization, like Lucifer said, a chip on the shoulder. So
Okay,
he
so
had,
that's what I thought. It was like a big chip on his shoulder, and that's why he leaned like that. That's what I thought. But I see in my timeline like at least once a day everyone's like, "Oh, he hurt himself, so like he leans like that." I'm like, I don't remember any injury occurring, but
no,
like I always just assume it was like he sees himself as like a weaker or lesser version of Lucifer, so he's like kind of self-actualized himself in like I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, but like a lesser version, like he self-actualizes something to make him look smaller or more feeble, I guess.
yeah, as he put it himself, I've always lived in your shadow, you being the light bringer, something around those line along those lines. But basically, yeah, he just created this huge chip on his shoulder because he envied Lucifer and felt like he got everything he ever wanted, whereas Michael, being the dutiful, son, is always second best, even though they're identical twins.
You see, and I never understood that because he's like, "Oh, I always lived in your shoulder, but or in your shadow." Like for me, I always saw it like because right from the beginning, you see that Lucifer goes on about how, he was dismissed and like, yes, he was God's favorite son at one point. So like I can see it then where Michael might feel less than. But then like Lucifer was sent to hell and he had his wings broken and he was bound and he fell from heaven. Like from that point on, you would just assume that Michael would be a step up at that point because obviously he's not in hell. So like, and by all means, like they're all above Lucifer at that point. So why would he continue to feel like he's less than the brother that everyone, you know, villainifies? I'm going to say that wrong, but makes out to be the bad person. Like I think at that point he's just kind of like it's more of like a self like a I can't think of the word. I can't think of the word I want to use. Like it's a reflection of himself. That he's the one that sees himself as less than, but not everybody else sees him that way.
I always thought about it this way too. Um, we don't get to see what happens in the Silver City, with all of Lucifer's siblings. But if Michael still feels the way he feels, I think it would be because maybe God is still missing his son. Because we all know that, yes, with the rebellion, he kicked him out, but he always had a plan. And his plan was always for what we see in season 6, for Lucifer's true calling. So I always just think that Michael is holding a grudge because of that he's constantly being reminded, like maybe, God is saying something or acting a certain way or just doing something to constantly remind him about, a brother that rebelled but is still God's favorite.
So like hot take, and you guys can disagree with me. It's not meant to be an argument or anything, but just like my personal view of things. I don't like God. I don't like he to me he's like equal with Michael on the level of characters that I like and dislike. Like I don't know, he villainified Lucifer this entire time. He was cruel and uncaring and like then he comes back and he just kind of like, oh, if I have to tell you if I love you, then I have failed. I'm like, yeah, you should tell your children that you love them. That's a thing you should do as their parent. And then like I don't know. He just like he expected that a family dinner and all this other stuff and like one apology and a quick "oh, I love you, son" at the end was just going to repair all of that, like centuries of damage. I don't know. Like I just didn't care. Maybe I don't know if it's like just the way he was written or just the character himself. Nothing against the actor, but I just did not care for the way he acted, I guess.
Yeah, I can
You did
definitely
it. You
see your
killed the
point.
chat. Kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, no, no, sorry. I was like trying to unmute mine. I was gonna speak up faster, but no, I was gonna say I can definitely see your reasoning why. I personally, I like Dennis's portrayal of God, but I can see why it's problematic. I mean, we've been through this journey with Lucifer. Like, it would be weird if we weren't rooting for Lucifer. We see how hurt he is, because of his relationship with his father and how he feels. And so, kind of tying it back to the pilot. I find it interesting how, God is mentioned at the forefront. Obviously, when Amenadiel like literally comes at the end of the episode saying that, Father is no longer going to be merciful. But now, looking at the journey now, were those empty threats? Because I don't think God was ever going to go down there and force Lucifer back to hell. Like, it was supposed to be a learning experience for Lucifer to go to LA and live life on Earth, and then, eventually running into Chloe and just everybody else. So I don't know,
Well,
I
that's what
just
I
find
was
that
gonna say
interesting.
too. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I
Oh,
like
no, no,
building
you're
off
fine.
of
You're
what you said.
fine.
Like, yeah, like if he didn't intend, like he created Chloe for him, basically. Like, for all intents and purposes, Chloe was made for him. So why would he constantly like be like Amenadiel, go fetch your brother and send him back to hell? Or why would he not stop Amenadiel from dragging Lucifer back to hell? Like is he just meant to meet Chloe at a specific time? Because obviously there's that flashback episode where, Lucifer senses her, which is so strange to me that he sensed her in that episode and he knew that there was something, like there was someone behind him that mattered, or that like he felt something basically. But then like when they actually meet, it's almost like he doesn't sense that. Like I don't know if that was just like an error on the writer's part, but it's something I've always wondered about. Like why doesn't he automatically sense something with her up until like obviously she doesn't acknowledge his desire thing. Why is it like why don't they like go back to that where he senses something is different with her, like without even looking at her when they were on those stairs, like he didn't even hear Amenadiel anymore, like they had that effect over it where Amenadiel was like in the background, like he was underwater, and he could just like all he could like focus on was that there was someone or something beside him that just felt different and was like drawing his attention away from what mattered. I don't even know where I was going with that. I got on a tangent and forgot where I was going with that. But no, God's character, like you said, like you expect him to be merciful and all that, or play a larger role in the beginning. But I like there's just a lot of things I didn't understand in regards to God and his character. Like I said, with Amenadiel constantly dragging Lucifer back to hell. Like I don't know if they were just meant to meet at a specific time or what, but it just like I don't know. I just didn't care for how they set him up, I guess.
See, I would think of it as Amenadiel thinking that it's his job to make sure that Lucifer stays in hell. So maybe without even God saying anything, every time he knows that Lucifer's on Earth, he's basically like, "Great, I've got to do this all over again. I've got to kick his butt back down to hell." Um, you know, sort of like with Uriel, because or Yuri. Sorry, he he acts not on, you know, and I know I'm skipping ahead to season two, but um, he acts on his own. You know, God didn't send him to take care of, either Chloe or uh, the goddess, but I'm thinking it's the same with Amenadiel. Maybe in the beginning it was something that God wanted him to do, but as time went on, just for the simple fact of him wanting to uh, have Lucifer and Chloe meet eventually, that Amenadiel just took it upon himself to always be the dutiful son and kick his brother back down where he belongs, so to speak.
I feel like you're onto something because Amenadiel just always wants to be like the perfect son, have everything in line. And okay, so Lucifer's supposed to be in hell. He's not in hell. So then I must take it upon myself to drag him back there. Um, and I was also like thinking like maybe Amenadiel was tired of like watching over hell or just feeling responsible for it. He's like, okay, I gotta go get Lucifer and bring him back to hell. And so he does it on his own.
Exactly. That's the way
It's
I
just self-righteous.
interpret it.
So I was waiting because I didn't want to interrupt anybody, but I've just now realized that I have read so much Lucifer fan fiction that I don't know what happened in the show and what didn't anymore. But do you guys like I don't again I like clarify for me because I might be missing something because again my brain is clouded with fan fiction. But did Amenadiel just like hang out on Earth in like sense that Lucifer had come down to Earth or like and was there, or did he just like occasionally decide to pop down and be like, hey, like go back to your hole, dude, or like did he come down and just check in occasionally, or did like he stay on Earth and just sense when Lucifer came up? Because that just seems like a waste of time for an angel that hated humanity in the beginning and didn't want any part of it to just hang out on Earth and like wait for his brother to crawl back up out of the hole they've shoved him in.
I think it's more or less, he knows his brother. He knows that he's not gonna do as he's been told, which is run hell. Um, so it's like a clockwork type of thing. It's like he may say, okay, it's been X number of years in hell. I need to go double check and make sure that Lucifer's where he's supposed to be, because it's that time. It's time for him to get bored and want to rebel again, and the first place he's going to go is Earth. So, and it's like everybody else is saying, when Lucifer wasn't there, it fell on Amenadiel to kind of patrol the halls, so to speak. And he would get tired of doing that too, since it's not his job, it's Lucifer's.
And I always thought that was so funny that Amenadiel always went on these tangents about how, like, you know, hell isn't meant for angels and, all this other stuff. Again, maybe I'm mixing this up with fan fiction, but, like, I always got that vibe that he's like, hell isn't meant for angels and, it's a terrible place. But, like, you, my brother, who is an angel, like, frick you, go down and sit there for the rest of your life with these tormented souls who just scream and cry and are getting tortured all day, where it's dark and it's cold, or I guess it's hot and miserable. And, we, the better, more deserving angels, are gonna stay up in the Silver City, which to me didn't really seem much better than hell, I guess. It just, like, it looked very, very boring to me.
Yeah, I mean, Amenadiel didn't see Lucifer as an angel. He saw him as the devil who deserved punishment, and his punishment was being down there with all the tortured souls. And yeah.
Well, I mean, no, I get that. Like, I get that's how he saw him, but it's just funny to me because, like, regardless of, like, he cut his wings off, but, like, he's still an angel. There's still that essence to him. He doesn't have to have, you know, bird, like, bird limbs or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the word is, but, like, to be considered an angel, he doesn't have to be half bird. So, like, but I do like, we're going on into later seasons again, but I really, really like how Chloe and him have that moment where she's like, yeah, you're the devil. Like, that's who you are, and that's fine. That's fine. That's who you are. I accept that part of you, but you're also an angel. Like, you don't have to be one or the other. You can be both. You can be the devil and be the king of desire and take care of these, or torture at the time it would have been, these souls in hell, and do what you have to do, and be a warrior of justice, but you can also be good and light and, you know, care for people. You don't have to be one or the other. You can be both, basically.
Be the light bringer, which is who he is.
I always like that too. Like, and I've also just realized recently too that it's not technically canon that Lucifer created the stars. We've all just kind of, like, made that up. But I think at this point, like, we can basically say it's canon because all of us say that it is. But, like, I've always, like, that's what the light bringer does essentially, like in the Bible, isn't it? Like, he created stars. Am I wrong? I didn't read the Bible, so, like, I don't know, but that's what I always thought it was. Like, when they called him the light bringer, I was like, oh, because he creates light. He created the stars. Like, that's what he does.
Yeah, I think that's fan canon, but all of us are kind of on the same page with us. It's like it just is. It's the truth at this point.
I was going to say the same thing. It hasn't ever been canonized in the series, but it does make perfect sense that, being the light bringer, he would have been the one that created the stars. Now, granted, in Genesis it says that God created the heavens and the earth, which would mean he was the one that created everything. But I do like the idea of all of us basically saying, okay, he's the light bringer, so he's the one that made all the stars. So whenever you look up at them, you can thank him for it.
And, like, the way I always saw it too, it's like, because it's mentioned how they all have their jobs. Like, because God didn't want just all of these creations sitting up in heaven, twiddling their thumbs all day. He gave them jobs. Like Lucifer was the devil, and like initially he was Lightbringer, and they all had like the one angel whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. She like delivered messages, and like all this other stuff. So the way I saw it is like God created like the foundation. Yeah, he created earth and he created heaven. He kind of laid like the base layer, the foundation, but then they built upon that. Like Lucifer created the stars, and maybe there was another angel that handled like nature, and like Adam created, he named the animals, right? So like if Adam can do that, why can't Lucifer be the one to create the stars?
I agree. And the angel you're talking about is Gabriel. She's the messenger that goes and delivers all of God's messages, and she's the one that can jump between universes and stuff like that.
She's the like super happy hyper one, right? The one that like started dancing during their like little war that they had, even though she was on Michael's side.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's her.
That's her.
Yeah, yeah, all the angels definitely did have their role to play, and how they pitched in and helped out, run the universe, I guess, because God is not gonna do everything. Like even Azrael, she's in charge of death and stuff. So yeah, I that's a fair point about Lucifer, making the stars. Like what? Surely he must have been assigned something, and I think it's cute that like we all just accepted this like headcanon of ours that he was the one who created the stars.
I really want to know where that started. Like, if, like, because obviously, if it's not shown in the show and it's not technically in the Bible, who just sat down just one day and decided, like, yeah, Lucifer created the stars, and then all of us were like, pigeon behavior. We're like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, Lucifer created the stars, and like, because with everything else, it seems like we're all very divided on things, and so like, we're like, oh yeah, Lucifer created the stars. Yep, that makes sense.
I think I saw that it was in the DC comics that the show's based off of, and then people just kind of took that headcanon over to here.
Oh, well, then fine, it's canon. Like, I don't care. Fight me on it. It's definitely canon then if it's in the comics, because there's so much of the show that's based off the comics.
Well, that's something I definitely didn't know. I'll admit I have not read the Lucifer comics myself, but yeah, that's pretty cool, Kim. If it was in the DC comics, then I agree. It's definitely canon.
I
Yeah,
haven't
I
read the
think I
comics.
saw a tweet with a picture from the comic that was like talking about it.
I haven't read the comics either, but I did see that, like, a lot is very different as well. Like, Lucifer and Michael, like, they're basically, like, because they're twins, their powers were, like, intertwined. Now, I could be wrong about this because I'm going off information that was told me from a friend, but basically, like, Lucifer, it might even be the other way around, but I think I'm remembering it correctly where Michael, like, Lucifer creates what is needed to make certain things, and then Michael is the one that kind of makes it into that. So like Lucifer kind of like create, like, I'm totally skewing this, but this is the best way I can remember it is like Lucifer create, and again it could be the other way around, but Lucifer like created the essence that was needed to make, like, say a star, and then Michael actually turned it into a star kind of thing. Um, and like their powers were very different in the comics too, like what they could do. Like Michael had the power to change his size, like he could be large or small, which my mind immediately goes to the gutter for. I'm sorry, but um like I'm gonna Google it. Hang on, I don't know if Twitter's gonna like be weird if I leave. If you guys can still hear me, that'll be really cool, but like let me Google it. I want to see what his powers are. Hang on.
But
Yeah,
the
I've read the comics, but I've only read like book one of the Mike Carey run. So I got like just like a little bit of Michael in there, and I kind of even don't even know what his powers are. He was just like freakishly large. And they kind of do look like twins a bit. Not completely the same, but they are considered twins, I believe. So that's something that's the same. They kept that the same on the show. But yeah, no, it's very different as far as like their powers. Obviously, there's more to it. The show kept it kind of simple. Budget wise, it would be impossible, I think, to like translate most of that stuff on screen anyhow. But um yeah, no, as far as like what they kept, they did keep the spirit, I think, of the character, and I think Tom did a great job with that.
I mean, yeah, without even reading the comics, like I think Tom was the perfect choice for this character. Just the energy that he brought to Lucifer was really good. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the list of powers now. Like, yeah, I think it would have been too much. Like, I think
It's a
while
lot.
they really did like bring in that celestial side and the supernatural side, they also kind of like tried to steer away from it because that wasn't the point of the show, really. In earlier
Yeah.
seasons, at least, the point of it was Lucifer was trying to get away from all that. But like looking on Google, it says that he kept his nigh omnipotence. I pronounced that wrong, I'm sure of it, but like um he cannot create something out of nothing. So like um Michael and him together create stuff. He has omniscience, which is the history of the universe's entire or knowledge of the universe's entire history. Biokinesis, chronokinesis, like it's just like a whole list. Um
Yeah, he's
of
basically overpowered, and basically like all these characters are super overpowered in the comics, which I think the show, that's not really what it was going for. It was trying to like like humanize the devil. So I think by having him being like this super powerful being, it would have made it harder, I think, for us to like connect to him. At least I don't know.
yeah.
I'm just speaking on myself. I think that's the issue I have with Superman even. Is that he's just, he's invincible essentially. But like I like that you like the humanity part of it. Like you want to be able to connect with him on some level. And I think they did a great job by just making it simple. He has super strength, this is this, he's vulnerable. I think it worked very well.
No, I definitely agree. Like, I love that. I love that he has his super strength and he has, like, he can still fly. Obviously, he has his wings and all that because he's an angel and he has his devil stuff that he can do. The desire thing, like, I absolutely loved that they did the whole desire thing with him. But I think if they had done, like, basically like in the comics where they give him every power that you would expect God to have, because God is supposed to be the all powerful and these angels are supposed to be less than him. So I think if they had given him all of this stuff, not only would it have taken away from the fact that like God is the top tier, but yeah, we wouldn't have been able to connect with him because there wouldn't be anything human there to connect with. You'd been like, okay, you're not like us in any way.
Exactly. Also, if they were gonna do cases of the week, that would have gone right out the window. There's like no way it would have just made him look like an idiot, not being able to solve anything. Like, of course, he's still an idiot, but he's our idiot. Like, it's different. I don't know. Like, I just, I think they played it well. And I kind of love how, like, in the pilot, like I said, I'm gonna come right back to it. I like that they tested the waters, like, with the pilot on how they were gonna go. I mean, like, there's even a throwaway line, where Menadil says, "Oh, what do you think happens to this to hell, or what happens to the souls who are trapped there, or something?" I can't remember the line. Like, we had just seen it. Geez, I can't remember it, but I remember reading how the initial way they were gonna go about doing Lucifer, like the show itself, was that every week he was gonna do a deed for somebody who came and like a favor for someone who came and asked, or something like that. But they said it did so well as like a procedural, like a police procedural, that they just kept it that way, and they thought it worked better. And so I'm very, it's yeah, you can see that's the route they went because of how well, in the pilot, that the whole detective thing worked out.
I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
Fox Fox liked it as a procedural because it was easier to do like the week to week. And then when it went to Netflix, they got to really dive deeper into other celestial characters that Fox didn't really want to focus on, like Michael and his sisters and God and everything.
yeah, and I think
Yes.
a lot of the chemistry that happened between Lucifer and Chloe um, also made that procedural part of it work too.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like anybody who's watching, and then like a higher up from a network would have been like, oh, okay, this is gold. This is banter. This is something that people will tune in to watch, hopefully. And we did. Or like the people did, at least, whoever started from season one.
This is officially a Fox disc account. Like, don't sue us,
Uh,
Fox. But like, no, the show would not have like. I swear, I've never ever, even now, like WandaVision is super popular. But I have never
Seriously.
in my life seen a TV show trend almost every single day, every week, like Lucifer does. Like, it's insane. You get
It's
on, and
literally
someone in my
insane.
timeline is tweeting. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, no, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying it really is. That's all.
Like, you get on, and like everybody in my timeline, like at least once a day, it's like, oh, Lucifer's trending again, Lucifer's trending again. Like, and maybe we shouldn't get so excited about it because it's constant. But like, it's constant, and that's why it's so exciting. Is because you do not see that with any other show. Like our little devil show that could, like, it just, we feel like our fandom is so small, but we do so much. Like, we won them a People's Choice
Mhm.
Award against Marvel. Like, oh my God, Marvel. And we get them trending so often. It's like, why have these people not won an award yet? Like, why are Tom and Lauren without, a Grammy or whatever award that they would win for
Emmy.
their amazing skill? I
Yeah,
mean,
the
it's
Emmy.
like, whatever. You know what? I don't
Mm.
know the terms, but they need their awards, and I'm mad they haven't won yet. I cannot talk. Won one yet. Um, like, it's because it's just like, it's amazing to me because nobody wanted anything to do with the show. Like, Fox canceled it, and it just wouldn't have been the same had Fox continued with it. Like, there wouldn't have been like the piano
Mm.
scene. There wouldn't have been so much of Tom's butt. There wouldn't have been, like any of the really good stuff that
Less
we love
celestial stuff
about the
too.
show. Like,
Yeah, I
they're
remember
just
Joe even, yeah, and I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I remember Joe had even tweeted how when it was on Fox, they would fight to include more celestial stuff in the story, and Fox would just be like, no, 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 no. They just wanted it to, just be like, like, I guess as strict as a police procedural thing as possible without any of the magic stuff. So. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it must have sucked. Honestly, it must have sucked being them like arguing with the higher ups every time they wanted to do something different and interesting, and they're like, no, no, no. Oh my goodness, it drives me nuts. So I'm kind of glad they got their freedom with Netflix, like when it came
Mhm.
to Netflix.
Oh, for sure. I mean, me too. Like, obviously, like, this is already a given comparison, but like Bones was a show I watched before I watched Lucifer. And
Mhm.
they very much stick to the police procedural, which is obviously the point of the show. But like, I think had Fox kept Lucifer, it would have just been another rerun of Bones, basically. Like, that's what we would have ended up with, because it would have been like, okay, you're the devil, and that's all we would have gotten. And we wouldn't have seen his desire thing. We wouldn't have seen, all the trouble with the Celestials. We wouldn't have seen Chloe almost hack Lucifer to bits with the Celestial, with Israel's, I can't say her name, Blade.
That's really weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't, my tongue's not working today. I'm sorry, guys. But like, there's just so much stuff that we wouldn't have seen. Like, that fight scene in season 6 is my favorite thing to have ever happened in the history of ever. I love it so much. And like, we wouldn't have gotten it if the show had stayed with Fox. The show wouldn't be trending every week like it does. We wouldn't have won that People's Choice Award. Not to mention, like, obviously it wouldn't have gone past season 3. So it's just, I'm really glad that Netflix picked it up and that we've got everything that we do. Oops. I hit the wrong button and muted everybody. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I just
My
want to hop. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to hop in there. Everyone can like hate me and judge me, but like going back to the People's Choice Award, like I I really believe that the People's Choice Awards are rigged, and like they would have given it to Marvel if Lucifer fans did not show up in like the amount that they did, that they couldn't ignore us.
Mhm.
Like it was probably insane. Like when Kevin showed up, I was like, oh my God, like they actually did it. I voted like once. So whoever, like all of you guys, like I am like
I'm not
floored
even
at
gonna
how
lie. I
much you
voted
really
every
did.
day. No, I voted
What?
every day. I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna lie to you. Like I voted every day because there was always someone on the timeline saying, "Oh, don't forget to vote." I'm like, "That's
Mhm.
right. I forgot to vote today. Let me do it." But yeah, you're
And then
right. I
like,
think it's yeah, it's almost because we come out in droves and like we really show up. Like you said,
mhm.
we're always trending. So
And then there was that recent thing where like Lucifer beat Squid Game last year, which like, okay, fine. Like
oh yeah,
Lucifer had two season premieres last year, but like people actually still watched Lucifer like a lot more than like the other show that everyone was talking about. Like it's like very quiet. I almost want to compare it to like NCIS, where it's like NCIS is like #1 show. Who watches it? I don't know, but enough people watch it. Like people really do watch Lucifer.
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
um I would like to see, well, I would be curious to see if any of the Fox executives who decided to cancel Lucifer after season 3 have started kicking themselves, just simply because it's like everybody's saying, we are trending just about every single day. And we did win that People Choice Award because we all kicked butt and voted and basically said, no, you are not going to ignore us. We are a fandom to be reckoned with. And so yeah, it's just um I'm so happy to be a part of this, because it's awesome, and we are all just one big happy, family, and it's fun and exciting, and I just love it. I'm so thankful that I got pulled in by my friend, who basically forced me to watch the pilot.
No,
So,
I definitely am sorry, Kim. I'm definitely on board with that. Like, you guys are making me teary-eyed over here. Stop it. Like,
No.
I can't imagine my life this past year without this fandom and without Lucifer. Like, we really were like the little show that could. Like, nobody had faith in the show, and like our fandom, it really does. It feels so small, and it's like so insignificant in comparison to other fandoms. Like, I see a WandaVision tweet every day with thousands of retweets and thousands of likes. And
yeah.
like, you don't see that so much with Lucifer. But when it counts and when it's time to show up, we really, really show up and like show people like we're still here and we're still in love
Mhm.
with this show, and we're not going anywhere and it's not going anywhere. So you have to notice us because we don't let people not notice us.
Which is why, sorry, not sorry, I truly believe that, like, it may take a year, it may take 5 years. I truly believe at some point we will get a movie because Netflix, like, they can't ignore, like, that people are still watching their show and still talking about their show.
Or they could do what
Yeah,
they
I
did with
agree
every
with
other.
that. Maybe not
So,
now or sometime down the line. I think I don't think they're completely done with it, especially like you said, they see the success. That's why every time I see it trending, which is like literally every day, I'm like, oh my God, was there news? And I'm like, no, it's just us talking about it. And we got it trending. Like, imagine that. Just casual talking gets this show trending. Okay.
Mhm. Which, I mean, honestly, if Teen Wolf can get a movie, then I really believe that any show can get a movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Well,
uh,
I have been, and it hasn't really gone that far. Um, I have gotten a lot of likes on the idea, but I was thinking that, you know, to kind of supplement an eventual movie, because I agree. I think we will get a movie down the road just because of how popular it is, and with all of us, basically pushing for it. um I've been wanting to have a Lucifer book series, to kind of expand, go beyond what we got, in the show. I mean, yes, we have our fan fiction, but there's so many other shows out there who have a book series, and I'm like, Lucifer should have a book series. I mean, there's just so many stories that can be told that haven't been told yet. Just so much of that world that can, evolve and grow and just really explode. Um, and I had a conversation with a gentleman. He asked me if I had read the comics. And like I had said, and I told him this, no, I haven't read the comics, but if we were able to get Netflix or Warner Brothers or whoever has the rights to, to creating a book series, the book series wouldn't be based off of the comics. It would be based off of the show, like every other book series that we have out there. With Star Trek and Supernatural and other shows like that. So yeah, I mean, I would love to have a book series because it's something I would gladly spend money on, to just keep myself immersed in our world.
To expand the world. Yeah, they could definitely. I can definitely see them expanding it, or maybe even like picking up where it left off and just throwing a few stories in there. Like, I would love to see Lucifer and Chloe figuring out stuff in hell, like how to help souls and figuring out their loops and stuff like that. That I would definitely be on board for that.
Yeah, and I could definitely see like a book series of like that's like Amenadiel in the Silver City and like all the other celestial beings up there.
I think for me, like, love or hate the idea, you know, like, I can understand both sides of it, but I truly believe that if we get a book series, it's going to be fan written. Like, there are so many talented writers in this fandom. Like, there's JC, and there's Lily, and there's Lucy, and there's
Just
Mary, and
everybody.
like literally
Yeah,
everybody. Like, I
Mhm.
truly
everybody's
believe
so
that it will be
talented.
fan written. But at the same time, like, I think it would have to be like a good middle ground, because what I would hate to see, no, this isn't gonna edge in the direction of, you know, season 6, like, you know, the ending, love it or hate it. But I think that we would all have to find a middle ground and to agree on where the story went, because I would hate to see it swing in the direction where, you know, season 6 kind of went, where the fandom is divided now, whether, you know, Lucifer and Chloe got to see each other or not, or, you know, whether it was Rory's fault or not. Like, I think we would all have to find a very good middle ground and say, you know, what direction those books went in order to make the fandom happy. Like, if it was going to be fan written. Otherwise, if the writers did it, I'm not really sure what direction they would take it, because I don't know if they would want to spend more time writing more to the story that they'd worked on already, or if they would just want to go in the route of like a completely different time area where, like, they jump ahead 10 years, and, you know, it's showing, you know, Trixie with her family and Rory's life, and her and Lucifer kind of patching their relationship. And then, yeah, the hell loops, like showing how they fix the hell loops. I absolutely loved, like, I didn't know in the beginning, like, when I watched season 6. I haven't watched it since it aired, but watching season 6, I was very on the fence about how I felt about them visiting the hell loops. Like, I liked it, but I, like, for a continuation, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. But when they threw in, like, the cartoon, like, that episode was one of my favorites. Like, I just loved the way they took it. I loved the way that you really see Lucifer's humanity shine through there, because he hated kids. He hated children. And then, you know, they get to that point where Jimmy Barnes was a horrible person. He killed Lucifer's friend. He almost killed Chloe. He was just not a good guy. And then for Lucifer to stand there and be like, you're a terrible person, but that doesn't mean you deserve the terrible things to happen to you. And he took the loop backwards and brought his mom back for him, so he wasn't suffering as much. Like, I just absolutely loved that, and I would definitely love to see more of it, whether it was a movie or a book series. Like, to see more of Lucifer, the way he changed. And I'm gonna stop talking now because I've been going on for like 10 minutes, but like, you get the point.
But yeah, is there anything else that anybody wants to add about the pilot before we end the discussion for tonight?
I wasn't sure if Godo was trying to speak or not, if their speaker's being weird or not. But I mean, yeah, like, if you guys want to get ready to wrap up for the night, we've been here for a while. We will be doing this weekly, once a week, every Monday. I mean, if we ever have to reschedule, obviously let you guys know. But every Monday, right around the same time, we'll be doing a rewatch and then getting on to have a discussion. You guys are more than welcome to join and talk. Um, you can discuss anything. Obviously, we didn't strictly talk, season 1, episode 1 tonight. Next week we'll be doing, obviously, episode 2. Go ahead, Kim.
I was just gonna say we're doing episode 2. That's all.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, and obviously we'll be tweeting. Our goal for this is to have this account grow and be a place where fans can come back and enjoy the show. I mean, I assume once we end this rewatch, we'll just start back up again, because there's more conversations to be had. There's more to discover. Even now, rewatching, there's things that I see fans notice every day that they didn't notice, even though we've watched the show hundreds of times over. So, I mean, feel free to share this account and bring friends over, and we're going to be doing all sorts of stuff. We'll be doing weekly polls or daily polls even, little quizzes. We eventually hope to be posting articles. We will be sharing this recorded audio on our YouTube channel. We plan to take this very far and hope that this can be something that we eventually get the writers in on, hopefully. So if you guys want to come back and join us, if you think this is something you'll like to do with us weekly, by all means, we would love to have you.
What she said.
Way to really help out there, Kim. Good job.
Well, no, like I do. Like as I was rewatching the episode tonight and as I was like thinking like I want this to be like a place where like we can keep the fandom alive, especially while like there's no new content until we get a book or a movie or another series. Like it's going to be the place for hopefully the Lucy fans to be able to hang out with each other.
For sure. Definitely. So yeah, I
Great.
mean,
And
yeah.
shout out to, yeah, that's
Go
great.
ahead.
I do want to say I appreciate you guys doing this because I literally saw one of my followers retweet the account. I didn't even find out about this account until this past week, and I was like, that's a cute idea because, like you said, it keeps the fandom alive. It keeps us like talking and speculating on things, as the weeks pass by. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I do want to say thank you guys for that. I think it's a great idea. It's a wonderful. I'll definitely continue tuning in, and hopefully, more and more people will start joining.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely the goal. I mean, we didn't even like initially this hadn't been the plan. Like I had just on an offhand thing made a comment about how I wanted to rewatch and have a space and just talk about it. And then Kim messaged me and she was like, "Why don't we make this a thing? Like, why don't we turn this into an account and get people to follow it, and we can make it into like almost like a podcast every week where we sit and we talk with people and get the fandom going again, because we could easily get Lucifer trending once a week by doing this. So I mean, yeah, thank you. Like we really hope that this can become something for Lucifer fans to join in with and really enjoy every week.
I second that, and wanting to thank you guys for, um, you know, doing this, because it is true that we can, you know, eh, just grow the fandom even more, and also, excuse me, keep everybody talking about us, because the moment that they stop, they're going to forget us, and we don't want that. We want to be able to, just, at least for myself, shout to the stars, hey, this matters, and this is a good show, and it's more than what people think it is. It's deeper, and it's got a message, um, that resonates with me. And if I can share that, with everybody through this, I'm down with it.
And then I just wanted to add, so we did announce this like a couple months ago, but I wanted to hold off till today because it is on the 6-year anniversary of when it premiered. And then I like Mondays just because that's when the show aired on Fox. So that kind of like has a meaning within the fandom, I think.
And yeah, like Tabitha, go to like I appreciate it, we don't want to speak on behalf of Kim, but I'm going to anyways because I'm sure she feels the same way. Like you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. Like yeah, we really appreciate everyone that joined the space. We will go ahead and end it now because like it's obviously for me anyways, it's getting late, and we obviously all have things we have to do tonight. I'm sure, or at least go to bed, but. We appreciate each and every one of you, even the people that just joined to listen and didn't talk, the people who tweeted us. Like there's so many tweets on the account. I have to check now. Anyone who had any part in our initial, entrance into doing this, like we appreciate you all so much. We cannot wait to do this every week, and we will see you next Monday.
Yes, thank you for talking with us, hanging out with us, and we will see you next Monday.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a
Bye.
great night, you guys.
Have a nice night. Bye, guys.